Okay. Hello. Now my screen is all tiny and the color looks different. But the connection seems to be better with my phone than with the iPad. Are you able to hear me on the phone? Welcome back, everybody. I don't know, Michaela. Sam and I tried to do a live chat together a couple weeks ago, and since then, all of Instagram is broke for doing these. Everybody she tries to join with, it always crashes. Everybody I've tried to join with, it keeps crashing. I don't know. Things are bizarre. This whole thing is bizarre. Darn inner tubes. We'll figure it out someday. Come up with a better alternative. I'm going to bounce you around a little bit for a second. Ooh, it's bright up there. I don't know if I like that. Still, it's not again, Danielle. It's still broke. Yeah, it was borked, and then her and Casey tried to do that, and it was just bad. Sean, fix it. So, anyway, ooh, now we got a nice halo up there over my X-Wing. Red 5, that is. What were we talking about? Not a whole lot relevant. So I do have a couple things I need to show you because this is freaking fantastic. So we went to Target the other day, got a full-length mirror so I can actually see my whole outfit, which is awesome. Ooh, the sync is off. It's off for me and I'm watching it. I switched to my phone, so maybe that is part of it. I'm curious. I don't want to touch anything, but I will. No, I'm hooked up to the network. Not to 4G. But a few things. One, why is the picture backwards? It's unicorn snack packs, which is amazing. Yes, we got the mirror, Justice. Unicorn snack packs with blue and pink pudding. Why does Instagram make this a mirror? Is this backwards for all of you? On my screen, it looks like I'm looking in a mirror. And the other thing, I haven't tasted that pudding yet, so I have no idea what flavor it is. I assume it's going to be like cotton candy flavored, so I'm probably gross. And then the other one is this lovely bottle of wine. Look at the artwork on this. It's just a red blend, but the artwork was beautiful, so I had to get it, and I will drink it. So, better sync now. Yeah, that one's on your side. I don't know how to flip it around. Here, Justice, you tell me. Can you, if I hold it this way, can you read it this way? It only seems to be Instagram that mirrors, though. My regular pictures, when I had to test this one, because it was bothering me when I was looking at it. I'm like, it's a mirror image, but when I take a picture, it actually flips the picture, stores it the other way, so like your shirts read the correct way. But Instagram camera doesn't do that. Is it? Ah, good. I'm glad it's Stacy. We'll find out in a couple minutes. I'm glad that worked for you, Justice. But yeah. We'll see what that pudding is like another day, but yeah, I just saw it and I'm like, I kind of need this. It's the most transy pudding there is. So what's going on where everybody else is? So I know that we've got one person from England, a couple people from New York, and some from California, a couple people local. Janie, where are you? I don't need to know your address, but city would be awesome. I was going to sit here and do my nails again, try that out, but I found that if I'm focusing on my nails, I'm not able to read what it is you're doing. Yes, really, damn it, I did it again. It screws me up. I know, I just saw you. Once I said that, I was like, oh yeah, it's Hannah, okay. So for those that don't know, I am awful with names and faces. The true joke is that I could not describe my wife to a sketch artist, and we have been married since 2005 and together since about 2001. So, yeah, I know her eyes are brown because I memorized that, but not because I can picture them. But I can recognize her usually when she's in front of me. And then I look at this itty-bitty picture. You're less than a quarter-inch tall there. So we just need to hang out more is what it is. If we hang out more, then we'll have conversations, and then I'll remember conversations, and that's important. But yeah, I've been trying to just keep a little spreadsheet of where everybody is so that if we do go anywhere, I can, like, either one, stay with you, or two, at least meet up with you and hang out. It's something we've been doing, I don't know, since 2000-ish, and that is just we go to conventions. We are on, like, AZ Goth mailing list, but then that was also alt Gothic news groups, and we go to a convention annually for that. Not every year, but most years, Goth Cruise, things like that. And so we met people from all around that we can, trade visit. I would much rather, if I could stay with somebody and repay them with a lovely meal, that would be awesome. I don't ever want to put anybody out, but gosh, if we can do it that way, it means more can get done. Just move in. All right, we're just going to drive on over and move in. That'll be cool. What part of California are you in, Danielle? Are you up north too? I'm sure you told me and I've forgotten. No, not this year, Justice. We'll actually be staying at Heath's house while he is at Convergence with Barb. So, we'll be holding down that fort, and then we've got other local friends that'll be staying here. Okay, Sacramento. Right, you did tell me that. But yeah, the timing is just bad. It's, what is it, the first week of May? I'll be my first week recovering. April 29th is my surgery. So, yeah, we just kind of hinted just for a second, like, well, maybe Diane could still go, and then realizing, no, that's the first week, and I would be completely alone. Probably bad. So, on the plus side, it seems like I've got a fair number of people in New York that might be able to stop by here and there and keep my bored-ass company. We can make all sorts of videos, and Bobby's back. Hello, sorry about that. That was a big mess. So yeah, gonna have way too many live videos probably of me just sitting there looking ugly, laying in bed going, I'm really bored, you guys entertain me. And then hopefully you guys will do something really entertaining. And I hope that Heath's internet is good enough at his house to make that work. Because otherwise I'm going to be so bored. I think a lot of reading and movies are going to happen in that month that I'm there in New York City. Not able to walk around a whole lot. And he lives on a hill, so I don't know, that's going to be rough. So, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, with the whole thing of trans representation and diversity, one of the things that I find is there isn't nearly as much. Now, I don't know what the numbers are, but when it comes to diversity on Instagram of trans women anyway, I don't know if it's the same for the trans masculine community. Sean, maybe you could chime in there. I don't know what percentage, like there's a black Twitter, is there a black Instagram that I don't follow the right people, so I don't have an into this circle of people that are inwardly facing? Or is it just not the specific forum that a lot of trans people of color are using? Like, I don't know. A majority of the people I follow are white. All different ages. Some pass. Some don't. Some are out, some aren't. But I don't see a whole lot of ethnic diversity, and I don't even know how I would randomly go trying to find that, because it's not like I don't know. I'm sure there are certain search words. No aftercare videos? Oh, there will be aftercare videos. Oh, yes. I'm going to have to start a pay channel or something for that, though. I mean, somebody wants to see that, they're going to have to I'm going to need some money. I will, Danielle. I think that, when we look at marginalized people, I went from the most privileged to the second most marginalized, behind only trans people of color, really, as a generalization. And their stories and the problems that they're having, I'm really curious how much they align with mine and how much I still take for granted. I think it'd be really, really interesting. I may need a nurse when I come back, at least if anything needs to be checked out. So, like I said, surgery's April 29th. Diane's coming back early, but I'm coming back at the end of May. And then I've got a 8-week and 12-week follow-up. So, end of June, end of July. And the doctor's office says I don't necessarily need to fly back if everything looks pretty okay. But if there are any simple things or questions, I might need some help. Hopefully it's pretty basic. But yeah, I'm going to be out there for the first 4 weeks in New York, and then I should be cleared to fly unless there are additional complications. So we'll see about that. I don't think... Welcome back, Heath. I don't think Southwest allows you to transfer a ticket, so that would be expensive if I'm not allowed to go home after 4 weeks. And Heath will be like, get out of my house, you stank-ass bitch. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go down. So, I'll try to smell as nice as possible, not ruin your spare room. Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, for my transmasculine friends that have had top surgery, I know a couple of people in different groups that have recently gone through it, and everybody's doing amazing. It's really cool. Just seeing how quickly they're able to recover. I mean, now granted, I don't see them for a couple of weeks prior to that, so I don't know what kind of hell they're going through for the first couple of weeks, but not too bad afterwards. Yeah, homeless and sex workers. The local trans group here, I'm surprised there aren't more homeless trans people that go to this group, simply because the church that we meet at, for anybody that sees this afterwards, somebody mentioned getting plugged in with the local trans groups and spent time with those in underprivileged situations like homeless and sex workers. The church where our groups meet is a place downtown that is a bit of a hub for outreach to marginalized groups. I mean, they help the LGBT community. They do food kitchen services, or at least food handouts on the nights that we meet. They do a lot of stuff locally with the homeless population, and it's interesting to me that hasn't pulled in any homeless transgender people. If it has, I haven't seen it. I've only been going there since November. First year and a half-ish, I didn't go to this group because we did Tai Chi on Saturday mornings and it never lined up, as well as it's just a long way, and so I just felt like, do I really need to go? But yeah, the sex workers, if there are any, they're not open to me about what they do. I've had a couple of people on Instagram come out to me that that's what they want to get into, mostly like adult film and things like that, and they're all very embarrassed about it when they tell me, and I'm just like, shit, if you got the goods and morally you don't object, okay, do what you got to do. I mean, you're not hurting anybody. Stay safe. That's really all it comes down to. Stay safe, stay happy. So do what you need to do. I have no problem with sex work as an industry. I only have a problem with exploitation. So if people are in it because they want to be, more power to you. Yeah, I imagine the lessons are huge. There are a few trans people of color that I know, and their stories are very... They're not super dissimilar, but they're more isolated, and it's almost hard to break into that group when there are a number of people... Welcome back, Siobhan. When there are a number of people in a minority of any sort, in a majority situation, you've got the people in a minority, they tend to clump together in the social settings because familiarity. Even, it's just the way we are as people. We're kind of wired that way. You seek your own, whatever that own is. If there's two goth people sitting in a vanilla club, the goth people are going to hang out together and be like, so what bands do you hate? And I see the same thing. So it's like if there's one trans person of color in the group, they're very open, and I love talking, and we can chat and be friendly. If there's a couple, they isolate, and you have to push your way into that space, which then feels kind of find it kind of difficult. Do I know Regina Gazelle? I do not. Should I? Are they nice? Are they in Arizona? Are they a porn star? I can Google that later. So yeah, I find when there are a number of people in a subgroup, it's hard to sometimes break into that without feeling like you're invading somebody else's space. And I don't like to go places that I'm feeling like I'm intrusive. I've been spending my whole life trying to be small, and if I can be smaller, the better. The smaller I can be, the better I can be. I'm already a big enough person, so I spend a lot of time trying to not be in the way. And by doing that, I don't know, in some ways I think it's respectful. I think some ways it's simply has to do with wow, words just disappeared right out of my head. Self-pity is not the one I want to use. Self-esteem. Thank you. Do I know her? I asked a whole bunch of who is she? And like, yes, so she's an Arizona trans sex worker of color. I think that would be the... This is how in Phoenix. I don't know that. Yeah, please get me in touch with her. I'm all for meeting people. Especially people with a variety of experiences. I am a student of the human condition, and I think people are fascinating. Even the most boring people end up being fascinating if you dig deep enough. Perhaps I should have gone into psychology, and that would allow me to look at everybody else's problems and not have to look at mine. So... yeah, thank you, Justice. I'd certainly like to meet up with her. I'm not familiar with This Is How. I'll have to look into that maybe after this. That is kind of awesome, Danielle. For anybody that can't see this, they transmommed her and took her to the wig stores and shopping, and that is awesome. Yeah, it's if you can be pulled into a subculture that way of just being adopted almost and letting people like pull you in, I think it's pretty cool. I just, I have this feeling too, it's part of my white liberal guilt, I assume, of it's some things aren't my space, and if I'm not invited in, I'm not gonna try to bull my way in. I feel a bit uncomfortable, but if I'm invited in, I have no problem going, because that's, to me, super fun. I love meeting different cultures. That was one of the cool things when I was in the Army. I was dating an Ethiopian woman, and one of the most racist people I've ever met, just classist and racist because she came from a wealthy family in Ethiopia, and they have a thing about if you have soft hair on the back of your neck, then you're like an upper class, and if you have curly hair on the back of your neck, then you're servant class and you're less than. And I had no idea how deep that was until we'd be going around Washington, D.C. to different, going to different restaurants, or just a lot of the cab drivers in D.C. in the early 90s were Ethiopian. And it was, I think, a safe entry point into American culture for a lot of them. And it was stark. Wow. I've never met anybody else that was that harsh with their differentiation. But some of the cool things about that were, the food, weddings, hanging out with her friends, and the things that they would be talking about. I loved it. I loved absorbing another culture, especially some place that most likely in my life, at this point now, I'm probably never going to get to visit. I just don't know that that's an area of the world I want to go to as a trans woman. And I think that is something that is, when we talk about safety, that's outside my comfort zone of what's my risk level going to be. That doesn't mean it won't ever happen, but for just a fun trip, I doubt that's going to happen. Thank you, Justice. She's sending me the link to a friend of hers. So what are, Danielle, if you don't mind typing just a wee bit, were you seeing a lot of differences, or was this early enough in your transition that you didn't know the differences yet between, if there are any? I don't know. I assume that people have different experiences in different subcultures, but that also might just be presumptuous of me. They might not be that different at all, but we all think everybody's more different than we are. I don't know. That's just ignorance. I don't know. But, well, I've been babbling here. Danielle, I think that would be awesome if you could maybe tell me about that at some point. I'd be really interested in hearing that experience. Also, somebody else had asked a quick question. I'm almost done here, and I want to... okay. What differences? Were there differences in the problems in the way that the trans people of color had to deal with the trans situation than you find with the white trans people that you hang out with? Were there differences in how culturally things had to be dealt with, acceptance or non-acceptance from family and friends, that sort of thing? I think it'd be really interesting. I'd like to hear what some of that is from your perspective, and I'd certainly at some point I'd like to hear some of that from some people of color and their perspective too. I think neither one of us, it's we're sitting in this place where we have been raised, most of us socialized in a male way, and tried to fit in and were accepted. And because we were accepted in that and got to live it for a certain amount of time, we have a unique perspective from a gender, when we're talking about gender discussion. We can see, we understand, male locker room talk is really just any time there isn't a woman present that they want to fuck. We understand just how competitive and shitty things can be, and also the camaraderie and the good things too. And we're also learning and seeing from the feminine side as we get accepted into the stereotypically feminine world of our cultures. We get that pretty awesome perspective of both sides, and getting to compare them in a visceral way that there isn't a way that I can understand that completely from a person of color's perspective. And frankly, they probably, in most cases, can't understand my perspective on that either. We have presumptions about what the other one perceives about us, but I'm really curious about that stuff. I find it fascinating and lovely, and I love those conversations. So, yeah, let's have that conversation, Danielle. I think that would be really interesting. And yeah, Justice, if you're still on, definitely, if you please send me that person's link. I would love to talk to them. And I am going to say this has been an hour. It's been lovely. I'm sorry the chat with Bobby didn't work out, but had to give it a go. And I'm going to try to do Monday nights at 7. I don't know if that's the best time ever, but if I'm consistent, then maybe people will know to expect, and you can just hang around. Okay, thank you, Justice. I'll look when I get off here. And hope you all have a lovely evening and a good week. Stay warm if you're in an awful part of the country that has all sorts of cold, and stay dry. And JD, I'm sorry, love, I'm just getting off right now, so another time we can talk. I'll be posting this, and it'll be up for 24 hours, and then I'll go throw it over on my YouTube channel. So, good night. Love you all. Bye-bye.